Hello everyone, welcome back to the table. Today, super excited because I want to show you some of the other topside minis that I had ordered. Now, the ones I'm going to show you today come from their battle set. And they've actually got like a lot of different battle sets where you can get, basically it's a collection of ships for maybe specific battles, things like that. For example, the River Plate that I had earlier, that was one of the battle sets you could get. They have like Atlantic, Mediterranean, Pacific, even Black Sea or Baltic Sea, Black Sea I think. And this one that I got here, when I ordered the River Plate set, I also ordered the Early Pacific. I got the Early Pacific because it had a really good balance of ships. So for example, it has two battleships, so you get Japanese and American. So the ship that I got in this set, and it's going to be the same, alright, so the ship that we got here, this is the Haruna. It's a Congo class battleship for the Japanese, and I tried to zoom the camera in here just a little bit, maybe zoom in a little bit more, just so I'm hoping you can see how gorgeous the artwork is. This is the other reason why I decided to go with Top Down Minis, is because I found some other websites where you could get, say, some free kind of counters that you could cut out and use, but they severely, sorely lack the detail that I get on these. So to me, these are just incredibly cool to look at. So no, again, I understand they're not miniatures. However, I think as a replacement to miniatures, until you can build up your collection, these are still a fantastic place to start. And they are good to look at. I have to admit, I showed them to my wife and she was kind of like, and yeah, she didn't get it. But I think they're great. The detail is good. You can see the turrets. Some of them have the turrets turned. Most of them, though, this is like maybe like a default layout with all the guns, everything kind of facing outward, like their normal forward and rear positions. So the other battleship you get here for the Americans, it's the Washington, North Carolina class. Alright, so those are the two battleships that come in the set. So we'll just do a quick takeaway. We also get in the set a couple of cruisers. So the Japanese get specifically the ship Naka, which is the Sendai class light cruiser. And then the Americans get the San Juan, which is an Atlanta class cruiser. And you can see there it's got like 6 turrets ready to go. I don't see an airplane, but they have a spotter plane. And looks like a couple, I see 2 turrets at least up here on the front. I'm not sure where their turrets are all supposed to be. Looks like there's one near the plane catapult as well. Looks like there might be a second one there. 1, 2, at least 4 turrets there. Possibly another one there. So I'd have to get a game out and check ship stats to see exactly what they have. But again, since I really don't know much about Navy ships, some of it's probably guess. I could be pointing at who knows what. But anyway, you get 2 cruisers. You also get in the set total of 4 destroyers. Here you get the 2 American destroyers. One is the Downs, and it's a Mahan class, or Mahan. I don't know how you pronounce the Japanese. It makes me think of Mahan, but this could be Mahan. I'm not sure. And then you get the actual Mahan destroyer as well. And since they're the same class, they look pretty much the same. Looks like I can see some AA guns there on the back. At least 1 turret there. And it's got like depth charge rails in the back there. I think they're pretty cool looking. And again, because that cool idea of balance within the 2 sets, here you get 2 Japanese destroyers. They're the same class as well. They're the Shiratsuru class, the Udachi and Samdire. And that's the 2 classes you get there for the Japanese. Even though the same class, these do have a little bit slightly different, or at least the deck coloring is a little different. So that's, cool. Alright, and then, here, let me show you these here. Then you get a couple carriers. You get a couple submarines. Carriers are coming, I promise. So here you got the Albacore, which is the Gato class. And then here you've got the I-154, which is the Kaidai class submarine. So there you go, you get 2 submarines. So again, very good balance. 2 battleships, cruisers, each side gets 2 destroyers. You get 2 submarines, which is great because you got destroyers. You can do some submarine hunting. And then, haha, these I thought are super cool. I might have to zoom the camera out just so they fit best. But you get the Saratoga, which is the Saratoga class, and then you get the Kaga class. And those look fantastic. And just to give you a size comparison with the battleship here, let me move the Kaga. Here is your battleship. Here's the American battleship. So the carriers do take up quite a bit of room, and I think that's great. That's fantastic. Now, again, depending on if you were doing the metal miniatures, that could be pretty pricey to go and find these in a comparable scale, because the bigger scale you get with the miniatures, generally the more they cost. But again, I'm still learning how to shop around, because my ultimate goal would be that if I had like a specific scenario, that I could just then purchase the miniature and I could just kind of lay it on top of the card, because then I have the name and class and then have a little 3D model sitting right on top. But until I get to that point, I still think these look fantastic. Now, an aircraft carrier would not be complete unless you had some planes. So you also get, I think I showed this off in the River Plate video, but just in case you haven't seen that yet, this is stacks of 2 that I'm laying down. So Japanese, you get 2 zeros. You also get 2 Kates, and I think these were the torpedo planes. Someone will have to correct me because I don't know for sure. So you get 2 Kates and 2 Vals, and I believe the Vals were the dive bombers, and I still think the artwork on those is fantastic. It might not show up on the camera view too well here, but there's a lot of paneling that you can see on the planes, and I always thought that's pretty cool, that kind of detail. Same with like the carriers. You can see quite a bit of panel work on the carriers. What would be neat, and I don't know if they have that on the battleship, they do a little bit, it's probably really hard to see, but the deck work paneling, a little bit there, but again, man, if you just zoom in, I think they've done kick butt. Have to watch my language to keep it G-rated. Fantastic art. Alright, so then we have, for the Americans, 2 Wildcats. Those are fighters, I believe. Then Devastators. I think those are dive bombers. I don't know. And then you get 2 Dauntless, which I believe those are the torpedo planes. I'm sticking to it. Now, this is really good because depending on your rule set, you've got planes that you can put on the table. Because fortunately, buying small planes isn't much. They're a little bit cheaper to get than, say, the equivalent scale ships. So you might be able to find some planes that work well for you in miniature. But again, until then, this is a great place to start. I know that I sound like a broken record at this point, but I'm going to invest more. I'm going to, right now, a rule set I think I might settle on for a bit is Naval Thunder. I'm going to tweak it out with some advanced, kind of my own optional rules that I'll talk about in another video. But I want to, maybe find a couple scenarios in there and get ships specific to those scenarios. And then from there, while I am playing and having fun, I can then worry about miniatures. And the reason why I really want to emphasize that is because as I was looking for different rule sets, there was a gentleman on Board Game Geek that, I forget which rule set he posted this under, so you could go read the post yourself, but he had made mention that he had waited years to play. He said it took years, and part of that was implied that he had to wait till he had enough miniatures to fill out what was needed for the scenario. And in my mind I'm thinking, oh man, that's harsh. I truly believe that the 3D look of miniatures, when you're doing a miniatures game, kind of makes sense that you have that. But if you can't play because you can't afford the investment of the miniatures themselves, I still think these are a great alternative to get you started. Right now, I don't have a specific scenario here for these particular ships, but what I can certainly do is with my son set up the point values from the book, and boom, we can do, you know, skirmishes. It makes me think of like saying here's a point limit when you play, say, Flames of War, you know, bring your infantry and tanks. I can now say, well, here's a point limit, bring your battleship, your carrier, your planes and whatnot, and they can have a go at it. And then once I find a particular scenario, I can pick those up from Topside Mini, and then over time, you know, I can buy out the ships. The other thing too that I'm thinking with that is, you know, if I buy just to play a scenario, those ships may or may not be used in any other gaming that I have. So again, I see a super value point here with the Topside Minis in the fact that you can play that particular scenario, I mean, and days later. Because I'll tell you, the turnaround time from the time I placed the order to the time that I had these in my hand was, I lost track of time, maybe 5 days. Like 2 days later, I got they're in the mail. I got a thing saying they'd be available on Saturday. They actually came on a Friday. And then I was playing that weekend. My son and I set these up, and we played a couple games, different rule sets, using these Topside Minis to play days. Whereas if I was trying to set this up, it would take time to order the minis. You know, your mileage may vary. Price might not be a concern for you, but when I'm in the experimental stage of finding a rule set that I enjoy, maybe finding specific ships that I enjoy, the price point for this, I think, is well worth the investment. But I will leave it at that. And if you do have any questions, or if you have any additional thoughts on what your experience with Topside Minis, please share. I'm absolutely loving what I've got here so far, and I look forward to showing you more over time as I get them. Just as a bonus clip here, this is the freebie that I got in the mail. So if you saw my River Plate video, I mentioned that you can reach out to them through their website and they will send you a sample ship. They bundled in the sample ship with my order overall, so it took me a day of, you know, to figure out that, oh, this is my bonus ship, because I was like, where in the Pacific did this fit? But yeah, this is the bonus ship they sent me. So it's a good size mini. So, I mean, because I don't know, I was thinking I would get something like a small destroyer, but they actually sent me a good sized cruiser to look at. Now, it's random what they send you. You could get a small destroyer, but again, the idea is to show you how easy this is to put together, affix to the wood block that you get, and, you know, play around with the tear resistant portion. So this is the one I got for free. Rather good sized, and I will probably be using this when we do some North Atlantic type stuff, but I thought that was a really cool sample product to get. So again, if you are undecided, I would reach out. And again, I should have put a disclaimer at the beginning. I'll put the disclaimer now. I did purchase these. Well, this was free, right? But I'm going to zoom out and just show you real quick, like, all of this Pacific was about 15 bucks off their website, and that's what you get. 15 bucks for all the planes, all the ships. This is the Early War Pacific set, and if nothing else, that gives you like I said, a good balanced start to do some you know, battles against one another. And I hope you enjoy. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you later. Bye.